I've woken up this morning with a really smart idea. What if I could create the smartest base in Minecraft? Now, what I mean by this is a base where everything is kind of within arm's reach. So you only have to stand in the middle of your base, you don't have to worry about wandering around looking for things. Everything is accessible from one spot in the base. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's a base for lazy people. It's a base for people that don't like moving around too much and don't like looking for things. You just stand in one spot, grab whatever you need, then leave. So it's absolutely perfect for me. First things first, we need to work out the entrance to this thing. And of course, with this being a smart base or a lazy base, whatever you want to call it, we don't want to walk into position. We don't want to have to go through a door and then stand in the correct place. Instead, we're going to make it so that you actually enter the base in the spot that you need to stand. So I guess the first thing I have to do is work out the optimum reach distance. So I can't quite reach that chest there, but I can reach all of these ones. I can reach that one, but I can't reach that one up at the top. So that means that this is the correct height for our cauldron. So how many blocks does it have to drop? It actually has to drop down a lot of blocks. That would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 piston extender. I'm actually really surprised by how far my guy can reach. Look, I can have access to that chest over there. Now that's really, really handy because we're 3 blocks out from here. And this is 3 blocks across, which means that actually we can build a pretty big square around this dude. This dude being me. I don't know why I kept referring to myself in third person there. So we have a lot more space to work with than I was expecting. And I guess the first thing that we should do is work on getting this cauldron from up here all the way to down here. And of course, the way that we're going to be doing that is by making use of flying machines. It should actually be pretty plain sailing. Those are always very famous last words. And I almost got myself into a muddle, but then I managed to sort it out. So here we have the little flying machine. Now the issue that I was having is that we are right on the edge of the block push limit here. So I had to think of a creative way to be able to power this piston. And actually it involves something that I haven't personally used before, which is gravity blocks and things to allow kind of like a movable power source. So you can see it moving down there. And then up like this. This is where it's important because that concrete powder is actually what's powering the piston. So it's a pretty handy little system. And our little cauldron is going from the surface right the way down to where we need it to be. And then we can pop it back up to the surface just by updating the bottom. Now, before we finalize all of this redstone, there is a little extra something that I want to be able to do here, which I'm not entirely sure how I'm actually going to pull off. What I want to have is a little armor equipping station, so we can hit a button, our cauldron will then drop down 2 more blocks, these dispensers will fire, they'll equip us with armor, and then the cauldron will pop up back to here. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do that, to be honest, but I am going to give it my best shot. I'm going to try my best, and I really do think I'm onto something here. So down at the bottom, this is our immovable object, which stops our cauldron from traveling any further. But as you can see, we can actually retract that immovable object 2 blocks further down. So this flying machine is now able to fly further. So if I update this observer right here, it will then drop down a little bit, and our cauldron is in the correct position. And then when we want it to come back up, we power this piston right here, and then we need to really quickly power one of these pistons by doing some updating action. And there we go. Alright, now I just need to wire that. By the way, that was my first time actually trying it out, so you could probably tell I wasn't 100% certain if it was going to work. And just so you know, that is still the case even now. I've put quite a lot of time into this thing. I'm hoping that all of the circuitry should function as planned, and everything should go well. Okay? Oh, that was so close! That was so close! The dispensers fired a tiny bit too early! Right, let's give that another whirl. Just with a slight tweak to the pair of those. That should be all it takes, to be honest with you. Right, let's take a look here if I can actually get inside the cauldron. Naked. Button press. Boom! That is so cool. Oh, so much development went into that little armor equipping station, but I would say it is well worth it because that is fantastic. Right, the next little piece that we have to add in is a way to actually get back up to the surface. So I'm hoping, yep, that button seems to work really. I love this thing. I love the idea of just a little cauldron that you hop into and then you drop down. Speaking of which, I actually have to make the down button now. And because, of course, this isn't a hidden base, we're not exactly trying to sneak a cauldron into the landscape here. I can actually use a regular button, which is quite nice. And if I press this, there we go. We then drop down into the correct position. And then if I hit this button here, I get equipped with armor, and then if I hit this button here, I go back up to the surface. This might be my favourite redstone contraption ever. Okay, let's stop fanning about with that and stuff and actually start building up some of the important elements of the base. First thing that I wanted to get sorted were the bare essentials, basically. The crafting benches, the anvils, the grindstones, I think that's what they're called. I always forget their name, but they're incredibly useful. The beds, the ender chests, and then I've also got a few extra chests down here too. I've also just thought I should probably chuck some stone cutters into the mix, and just for the sake of symmetry, I've added 4 of them. That is looking pretty cool as a central hub. I don't know if I'm just being daft here, but I'm really surprised by the size of the wall of chests that we can fit in this place. Like, look, every single one of these is easily accessible. I mean, easy-ish. You kind of have to really right-click on the corner of that one right there, but we can just about access it. I mean, this is a good amount of storage. I was expecting this to be a compromise, but no, we're flying. Which, by the way, is English for we're doing great. We're having a good time. You know what? That's probably used quite a lot. I probably just I've made it out that everyone else is ignorant. I tell you what, that's not flying. Okay, that's definitely not flying. Which, having listened back to that recording, it sounds like I'm saying flying. Like, I'm mispronouncing the word fine. Oh, it's a mess. Anyway, that's enough of that. Time to work on the next redstone contraption, and this one's definitely going to be interesting. We're going to be making use of these 2 buttons here, and probably another one in the wall too. I really like the idea of certain items being delivered to us. I would say food, firework rockets, and maybe ender pearls. Why? Why is life so difficult? I've managed to make... an item dispenser. The dispenser's 63 items. I don't even know how. There's 8 droppers. That's not a multiple of 8. It doesn't make any sense. I do love quasi-connectivity 99.99% of the time, but then things like this happen, and I start to reconsider my life, you know? In case it wasn't clear, that is the dropper that's not firing. This one right here. They're just there. That one. Any ideas? Managed to solve it with some jiggling around of the droppers, and now we should have all 3 parts of the system up and running. So let's give it a quick tester then. Hitting this one gives us 64 golden carrots. That's incredibly satisfying. Hitting this one, 64 firework rockets. Love that. And then ender pearls. Nice! I hadn't tested that, and all of them worked straight away. As you can probably tell from the excitement in my voice, that doesn't happen very often. Normally it takes a lot more than the first try. Right, I thought I would get straight to work on the next wall. Important things happening here. One of them being enchanting. Goodness me, it's difficult to get into a cauldron when you want to be in a cauldron. Right, so we've got the enchanting table down at the bottom there. In fact, now that I think about it, I should probably chuck a chest in with a little bit of lapis so that I can easily get that, because otherwise that will drive me around the bend. But then up at the top here, I also have some brewing stations, which I'm currently working on automating just a tiny bit. Just a small bit of the process being automated. Nothing really too complicated. If I hit this button right here, we should see that nether wart will be then loaded into our brewing stand, and that will start brewing up. And then also, if I hit this button here, which is our fire resistance potion, nether wart will go into there. And then if we take a look over here, eventually, once this thing has finished brewing, and we'll get the awkward potions, I think. Yep. Then the sugar is in place, ready to make swiftness. And then on this side, blaze powder. Fire resistance. Once again, really nothing too groundbreaking in that department. But with that being said, it is incredibly handy having this sort of thing at arm's length. Also, okay, I should probably learn my potions a little bit more. We've got potions of strength. Moving swiftly on from that one, without really much messing about, I've built up the final wall. And this wall is pretty important because, of course, this is our furnace wall. I've got 2 sets of super smelters here, and I'm saying super smelters in inverted commas because they're a bit 2012. They're not, you know, I mean, it's kind of a super smelter. It's faster than a single furnace. it's not crazy quick, but the reason that I've done it like this is because I wanted to have two different types of furnace in here. So on this side, we have got the blast furnaces, which is specifically for things like ores. So that essentially smelts ores at the speed of 4 furnaces, which is, you know, it's not breakneck speeds, but it's decently quick. And then on this side we have regular furnaces, so if we're converting stone to smooth stone and that sort of thing, then we can use those. Oh, and of course in the middle we've just got a bunch of smokers. There's no redstone involved in those, but I thought it might be handy to have if we're smelting up a bunch of food. So there we go. That is our smart base all done and dusted. I mean, I gotta say, I'm really happy with how this concept has come together. I mean, we can access all the chests, so we have a pretty large storage system. We can access potion brewing stations. We've got enchanting, we've got beds, crafting benches, anvils, ender chests. We've got the grindstones and things. We have easy access to food. We have easy access to firework rockets. We have easy access to ender pearls as well. Super smelters. We've got armor equipping stations, which work in a really cool way. That's pretty fancy. And of course the way that we get in and out of the base, it's super cool, isn't it? Like, there's something about this that it's good fun. Let me just pop into my cauldron, drop down into my base, pop into my cauldron, drop down into my base. Oh, you've broken something. Pop into my cauldron and drop down into my base. Yeah, that's a little bit more like it. Right, I really like this thing. It's been a lot of fun to work on. I hope that you've enjoyed it too, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya. You know, it's funny, over the past couple of days I've been really struggling with redstone projects. I've done about 4 different redstone videos, all of which just totally failed on me. And I then spent a whole day trying to think of redstone ideas. None of them came to me, and as soon as I gave up and said, you know what, I'm done, a bunch of cool redstone ideas came to me, and this was one of them. So, you know, sometimes you just have to wait.